Hello, everyone. I appreciate you being with us, and I appreciate you waiting on us a little bit. This is a really important time in West Virginia. You know, along the way, you surely bestowed upon me the biggest honor of my life in many ways, and that's when you elected me 2 different times as your governor. You trusted me. And really and truly, today we've got so many things that are going around that I really believe are really dangerous to us as citizens of this great state. You know, we've done a lot of good stuff, and we'll get into that in just a second. But with all that being said, if we don't watch out, and I've said it so many times, we'll get in our own way and blow our own legs off. Well, what I want to do is talk to you about just that today. From the standpoint of, we have Amendment 2 coming up, and you're staring it right in the face right now. And there's so many repercussions of it that I am positive with all in me that you don't know, you couldn't possibly know. Now, with all that being said, from my standpoint, I want you to just know just this. It'd be awfully easy because I'm not going to be here forever. In a couple of years, I'll be long gone. And from the standpoint of being your governor, long, long gone. Now, from that, between now and then, things are probably going to be pretty dadgum good. And it'd be mighty easy to ride the wave right to the end, cut all the ribbons, riding all the parades, and be the star of the game show over and over and over. But I never signed on for that, did I? In all honesty, I've never wanted anything. I signed on for one thing, and that's to serve. Not the special interest, not the lobbyist, not the next perk, to serve. That's exactly why I'm here. So from that standpoint, why do I need this hassle? Why do I need to go through this? Well, I need to go through it for you. And that's absolutely the very reason that I'm here. Now, I'd say just this, and you've got to just listen to me really closely. There is only one thing at play today. The car tax situation, we'll get to it in just a second, is absolutely nothing more than a bait to get you to the poll, to get your vote for something else. The something else is the machinery and inventory tax. Now, ask yourself just this. Who would be an incredible beneficiary of the passage of the machinery and inventory tax? Who would that be? It'd be me. I mean, it would be my companies. And I'm the very person that's sitting here telling you, don't do it. It's a great big mistake. It's a big risk and a big mistake. Now, the other flip side of it is you may be wondering, well, why in the past has Governor Justice been for getting rid of the machinery and inventory tax? Because 2 things that I didn't know, and now I do know. The first thing is we had no real chance of getting on a real live pathway to get rid of our personal income tax because we did not have the wealth or the wherewithal to be able to pull it off in West Virginia. 2 years ago, it's a lot different animal than it is today. Today, West Virginia is exploding to the upside, and it's really, really good stuff. Am I against the machinery and inventory tax? No, I'm not against it. Absolutely, I would be all for it on the back end. If we first and foremost rewarded the very people who brung us to the dance. Who brung us to the dance are the workers of West Virginia. They're the people that are hurting today with inflation, eating them alive. $5 gasoline, and who knows where it could possibly go. And really and truly on top of that, the cost of buying food in the grocery stores and on is just astronomical. Those people are really hurting. Those are the people we need to reward today. Now, I absolutely believe with all in me that our large companies, and many of them out of state, and we welcome people to come to West Virginia from out of state. But today, those large companies do not need our help like our workers need our help. So with that all being said, what we then try to do, we try to compromise, don't we? The House went right with my idea on the personal income tax and getting money right back in the hands of the people. Now, with all honesty, I commend in every way Speaker Hanshaw and Chairman Householder, Amy Summers, Brandon Steele, all the folks that really, really stepped up and said, absolutely, this is a great way to go. Let's go right now. Now, then we came upon a real unexpected obstacle. We came upon an obstacle that in all honesty just glares in the face of being exactly what I think is going on in Washington today. And that's a Charleston swamp, a Washington swamp. A swamp that's led by special interest and absolutely, and then the thing that is really concerning, really concerning to me is how can we not even vote? And how absolutely do we need to line up? I mean, we are elected to come here as senators and House delegates and governors to represent the people, to represent first and foremost the people, not line up like a bunch of sheep that are just walking in the same direction that the leader says to go. What if the leader would just happen to be taking you off a cliff? It'd be a bad move, wouldn't it? Let me say one other thing, too. I go back to my dad. All the time. And Dad would say just this to me. He would say, son, extremes, whether they be extreme left or extreme right, they're probably not good at the end of the day. You've got to always have logic and reason. And I've stood by logic and reason over and over. Now, normally speaking, I don't have any notes. And I'm just usually speaking to you from my heart. But this is so important, I've made these notes today. And with all of that, just bear with me. You see, I truly believe, and you know it too, the Democratic Party, by what really is happening in Washington, whether it be President Biden or AOC or Bernie Sanders or Nancy Pelosi or whomever it may be driven by there, they are imploding their entire own self. Well, it doesn't mean that it can't happen to a bunch of great Republicans as well. We've got to be careful. We've got to do the right things first and foremost for the people. My dad said this many times also. To me, when I grew up, there were kings, and those kings were Dad and Lawson Hamilton, Buck Harless, all those people that were around like that. They were rock solid Jim Songers and rock solid Republicans in every way. Joe Lucchini, so many people that I regarded with all in me as kings. The one thing that they would always do, and I would tell our companies, whether they be West Virginia companies or they be out-of-state companies, I would say just this and only this. Absolutely, when you want more and more and more, if I could be your business consultant just for a second and say just to you that from a PR move today, you got a lot of folks out there that are really hurting. Really hurting. From a standpoint of a machinery and inventory tax that maybe you could benefit from being a company, whether you be in-state, out-of-state, whatever it may be, all I would just say is just one thing. The kings that I've referred to, the kings always first and foremost took care of their workers first. They believed in their workers. I'll never forget Bob Murray in my office over and over, as we were going through what I consider the biggest miss in the history of this state. How to tier the severance tax on coal, what he was working on, but coal and oil and gas. The biggest miss we will ever have in West Virginia. And if properly recorded, it will go down as the worst miss in the history of this state. But I want everyone to know just this. At the time that we were doing that in a rewarding way. All those companies were having a tough go of it. Coal prices were $32. I mean, gas prices were less than $1. And absolutely the outlook was not very good. Now to go back and change the rules of the game and everything, that's not going to happen on my watch. And the reason it's not going to happen on my watch, first and foremost, is because that was done in a rewarding spirit. Now to change something now, it would be nothing but punitive. And absolutely, I don't see a reason to do that. Now, with all that being said, let's just step one step further. From the standpoint of if I were your business consultant, like I said just a second ago, I would say, do what Dad does or did, and do what the Kings did. Always look after the workers first. With all in you and everything, you've got to have profits, and you've got to have profits to have sustainability and expansion and all. We know all that. I mean, you're talking to you're listening to probably the biggest business guy in the state of West Virginia in a lot of ways. Now, with all that, I got that wholeheartedly. But from the standpoint of PR, a PR move, to ask for more in a company, in whatever the company may be, and the profitability off the chart, while you're leaving a lot of folks on the sidelines that are really hurting today, I think we need to reward those workers first and foremost. Now, let me just say just this. I am really proud, really, really, really proud that I am a Republican through and through. My values are conservative without any doubt. I want to always be reasonable. I absolutely always want to be logical. But let's just think about this just a second. Who has stood for life more? Who appointed a better Supreme Court that is conservative in its values? Who absolutely proposed the intermediate court? Who absolutely has stood behind every vote on a Second Amendment vote? Every vote for guns I've stood behind. Who's downsized government? Who absolutely believes in school choice and has given us the ability to be able to do so, while at the same time, that person believes and is thankful to business all across our state. You see, I'm not the guy that's standing in the way of a machinery and inventory tax. I'm the guy that says wholeheartedly that we've got it out of order and we've got it baited up with a car tax. I'm the guy that walked in the door and took you on this ride from bankruptcy to a rocket ship ride. I'm the guy that believed that our image had to change and our image was tough, and now all of a sudden we may very well be that diamond in the rough that everybody's missing. And I'm the guy that took you from a COVID panic to maybe some level of COVID sustainability. It's still with us. And we still read death after death after death. And we still want to be really careful. But I know many, many, many of you are hurting and trying to figure out what to do with this unbelievable inflation battle. I know you're worried about how we're going to get through the winter. What are we going to do at the grocery store next? What are we going to have to leave out? I know that. So with all that, I also know just this. There's going to be bumps. There's going to be big time bumps in the road. Now, for a year, like it or not like it, we've been traveling around under the cloak of darkness in many ways, and then what we had to do was be able to hook this thing all together with a car tax. Well, today, the car tax bait needs to leave because you, the West Virginia voters, you need to vote on the merits. You need to vote on the merits of absolutely losing county control and letting all the control move to Charleston. You need to vote on the merits. And so I've asked so much for our people in the Revenue Department. I said, find us a way that we can absolutely assure the people that Jim Justice will get rid of their car tax. Sure, it's important. It's important to all kinds of folks. There's no question about that. Let's say it's important to all. But absolutely, we do not need to be hoodwinked here. We don't. We need to vote on the merits. And then if you decide that you want to give up county control and you really want to give up the ability of what, who knows what could possibly happen to your firemen, your police, your EMS, maybe school stuff. If you want to do that and let Charleston rule the day, then that's fine and dandy with me. I've told you so. I've told you so. But you should not be baited into a situation to where it says, we're going to get rid of your car tax, when really and truly the 800-pound gorilla in the room is one thing and one thing only. And that's the machinery and inventory tax, and the only reason it's there is exactly what I've said over and over and over. It's the swamp. It is absolutely the swamp. It is the thing that is killing Washington, D.C., and I don't want it to kill us in Charleston. That's all there is to it. Promises, campaign donations, next election promises, whatever it may be. That is the only driver that shoves that in front of the personal income tax, and it is a tremendous risk. At the end of the day, I would say this too. In WVU, Marshall, higher ed, you best better listen to me, and you best better listen right now. Absolutely, if the bumps in the road come and we pass the machinery and inventory tax and we align with it and everything, a car tax, which I'm going to show you right here how Jim Justice is saying get rid of it right now. But if we pass all those things and we layer in, $600, $800, $900 million into the state budget, or pull it out of the revenue basically, if we layer that base build in, and then all of a sudden, dupe happens. The bumps come. And when the bumps come, the first place they're going to turn to is higher ed. You've already seen it. You've already seen proposals to cut your funding completely out. I mean, you've already seen it. It is the first place they come. Now, you can sit on the sideline if you want to sit on the sideline, but that isn't good with me. You best better get involved, and you best better get involved right now. Now, so today, I'm going to read to you again. Today I am announcing the car and all vehicle tax elimination and protection of local government act. I'm going to read this to you. Today I am proposing legislation to get rid of the car tax immediately without amending our Constitution. This means you can vote no on Amendment 2 and still get rid of your car tax. As soon as the House and Senate are ready to take this up, the bill is in their hands. It's ready when they're ready. And right here's the bill, the whole bill, all written by our Revenue Department. It is completely ready to go right this minute. The proponents of Amendment 2 claim that we must change our Constitution forever to eliminate the car tax. We don't need to do that. What we need to do is pass this bill right now. Okay. Not only is that untrue, it's just plain deceptive. It can be done, and we have the way right here without making a major amendment change to our Constitution. The Senate is using the car tax as bait. Don't take it. They're trying to pull off a fast one on you, and you're smarter than that. I know that, West Virginia. By voting for Amendment 2, You are giving hundreds of millions of dollars of massive control to Charleston and giving big companies big-time tax breaks. Under my plan, each year, all West Virginians, company, business, and all West Virginians who own a vehicle would receive a full dollar-for-dollar refund for personal property taxes paid to the county sheriffs in 2022 and every year going forward. The refundable credit is paid from the West Virginia General Revenue Fund and does not in any way interfere with the property tax revenue stream guaranteed to local governments and school boards since 1932. This act will return approximately $145 million to West Virginia taxpayers, and it applies to this year's tax. This proposal, coupled with the PIT potential going forward, could absolutely drive many great benefits to the state and the citizens of this state. This act was drafted by our tax and revenue experts and is in accordance with applicable law. My plan guarantees that our local first responders, counties, cities, school boards will be able to keep their constitutionally guaranteed revenue, while at the same time it allows West Virginia taxpayers to share in this historic surplus. I ask you to call your legislatures today and urge them to vote for this, and vote for this right now. Now, I've asked our people over and over and over, find me a way to get the car tax thing settled. I have told you 1,000 times, I am absolutely for getting rid of your car tax. This is no game. I mean, absolutely, West Virginians, you are too smart for this. Our counties were about to get absolutely harpooned, and that's any way you cut it. Absolutely put at risk beyond belief. Put it in a situation to where every year you're going to have to come to Charleston and beg for your funding. What if? What if it doesn't happen? And then there's the argument out there, well, we can get rid of our machinery and inventory tax, and that'll help small business and everything. Well, I'm going to tell you there's 1,000 ways to help small business. The first and foremost way is you get on a pathway of getting rid of your personal income tax in the state of West Virginia. You're going to drive so much business to small business, it is off the chart. This morning, if you watched Fox News, and I always do, absolutely, the number one topic was about personal income tax. And you know what they were saying? They were saying the states like New York and California and on and on and on, there was this mass migration that is happening in those states right now. And they're leaving those states. And where are they going? They said they're going to Florida. They're going to Texas. And why are they going there? Because they don't have a personal income tax. Now look, I've said it, I don't know how in the world you can do anything except just hear my words and just hold me to my words. Please do. Absolutely, I believe there's a way of to get rid of our machinery and inventory tax down the road. But we are ass backwards. That's all there is to it in the way we're going about handling this. Sure, get rid of your car tax. Right here's the way to do that. But right behind that, for crying out loud, let's get on a pathway of eliminating our personal income tax. And then on the back end, if we have any level of sustainability, growth, minding the store in a proper way, I'd be the first one to say, let's get rid of the machinery and inventory tax right behind that. With all in me, I know I'm right about this. And I know we're about to blow our own legs apart. And I absolutely know the reasons why we are pushing this. And really and truly, I know the very people that are standing on the sidelines holding the bucket, and we're not coming through, and that is the very workers of this state. And I don't see how in the world we can turn our backs on our workers, turn our backs on our own people, and reward giant corporations. And I am a believer in giant corporations. I am a business guy. I am a believer in absolute out-of-state folks coming to West Virginia. In every single way, I'm a believer. But I'm also the believer of my dad. My dad would have always said, son, if you're doing really, really, really good, don't ever turn your back on your workers. I mean, don't ever turn your back on your workers. Like it or not like it, that's what we're doing. Many, many, many of our companies are doing really good. Really, really good. And really and truly, just to give them some more dollars and leave our workers standing there, no, wrong move. Wrong move. And we couched it by saying, oh, no, we're not doing that. We're going to get rid of your car tax. Well, I hope to God above we've got that off the table now. And now we're going to vote. Now we're going to vote on the real merits of what we're doing. The real merits. And the real merits are, do you want absolutely all your control moved to Charleston? Or do you think and know best what to do in your counties? Let's vote on the real merits. Let's don't hoodwink our citizens. I've found a way. It's taken me a little while to figure it out, but I found a way to take that off the table. Now it's time to vote. God bless each and every one of you. I mean it when I tell you I love you, and I truly believe with all in me, absolutely, God made us all who we are for a reason. And that for me is not to ride in the parades and just cut the ribbons. It's to serve and to do the best I possibly can for you. And that's what I'm going to continue to try to do. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for letting me be with you.